Yo, what's going on, guys? T-Church here, and in today's video, I'm going to be starting my Path to Pro Improvement series. This is a series where I will be playing the solo cash cups and then going back and reviewing the gameplay. I have started to consistently qualify for finals, so basically every single week I am competing to earn that $100. So I'm trying to start the series as a way to not only motivate me to improve myself, but then also to help you guys see what this journey and what this process looks like. If you guys have any ideas for other videos, maybe if you'd like to see kind of how I approach scrim practice and how I identify mistakes and stuff like that in scrims, I could also do videos on that. So just let me know down in the comments below. And remember, guys, please like, comment, and subscribe if this video helps you out so that you can support me and I can continue to bring you guys amazing content like this. All right, so the content that we'll be taking a look at today is actually a video that I recently posted, how I qualified for Solo Cash Cup Finals. This is kind of just my raw gameplay. And you'll be able to see kind of going through this, the different decisions that I made. We're just going to watch through this whole thing, and I'm going to give you guys my thought process. So starting off here, we are landing in the northeastern corner of the map. We're landing at the weather station. I was contested this game. As you can see, this I could just tell from the way that this kid was moving around, the way that the skin that he was wearing, that this kid probably was not going to be very good. So I played really aggressive on him there, obviously win the off spawn. So the start of this next clip is either fourth zone just revealed or fifth zone just revealed. And you can see I'm kind of out here on the edge. And I'm surrounded by a couple of different players. So I saw this guy come in late behind me. I see him boxing in wood, and I saw he's only held up by one. So I wanted to go ahead and try to go for the snipe, which I actually wound up hitting. So really good there. Here you can see this is right after that initial clip had just rotated in the zone. So you won't be seeing much of the rotations through the mid game. Perhaps in future videos, I'll do breakdowns from actual VODs. So here during this fight, go ahead and break back up just a little bit for you guys. So here during this fight, I actually take a pretty bad angle here, and I recognize almost immediately he's not within this back kind of quadrant of the box. He's actually over to the right here. So I recognize pretty quickly that this is not a good peak for me, because if we were to zoom out and kind of look at it from a bird's eye perspective and we see the 2x2 box, you would see that in the 2x2 box, he actually has a right hand on me. So even though I'm making a right hand with the peanut butter, because of the way that right hand peaks work, he actually has a better peak than me. So I kind of recognize this decently quickly. I make a quick read, look in the back of the box, see if he's stationed there. Because he's not, he's in a position where I can't see him. I'm going to back up and I'm going to start attacking the wall that is on my right hand peak, right? So he overcommits coming over to this wall while I'm replacing the other one. I read this and I'm able to get a quick pump off while he's still swinging his pickaxe and was able to catch him under my cone. And then from that point, it's just about being a little bit unpredictable. So I edit out the right of the box to go ahead, and then I reset the cone to kind of try to surprise him, which he's not a very good player, so it actually wound up working. So I have to go all the way down this mountain here, and it's a little sketchy, as you can see. Luckily, there wasn't very many people in front of me. I'm kind of like already on the dead side of zone. Also, keep in mind, guys, like this is first game, so I'm gonna play a little bit more aggressive and do some things that maybe are not the correct thing in terms of legitimate game theory, but a lot of that is just confidence because I believe that I'm, if I have a tangible advantage on these players, like I'm going to be able to kill them. So you can see there, like that kid was already getting sprayed. He got cracked. He's boxing in wood. So I know that it's not going to take very long to break that wall. So I'm able to just get in straight away while he's distracted and get a really easy elimination, get a really easy refresh. And now I actually have my mobility. So I didn't have the mobility that I needed, but I did have that sniper rifle, which helped a lot. But once I pick up that refresh, he had a bunch of extra flow berries on him. So I'm able to get the mobility that I needed. Now, once we're in zone here, I just take a safe position, try not to get too greedy, make sure that box in metal to discourage anyone from trying to spray me or lobby focus me. And then I also recognize that I'm on a pretty dead side of zone here, so I decide to make this rotation a little bit early, try to get closer to this 8th zone so that I have an easier rotate going forward. You see, I have a little bit of time before this zone starts moving. I really don't need to rush it and be too fast here, for the simple fact of I have plenty of time and I need this zone to go ahead and open up anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and start to bother this team or these kids that I see that are fighting in here. He actually goes for a snipe over my head and luckily just misses. That actually could have been the end of my first game, and that would have not been very good. So it's pretty lucky there. I did kind of overcommit, and, you know, he almost punished me for it. And I believe that if I was a better player, I absolutely 100% would have been punished for it. So I try to get as close to this hill as possible. You can see the zone's kind of pulling up the hill, which makes this rotate like a little bit awkward. And some dodgy mechanics out of me there, but I end up just saying, screw this. I'm not building up with people coming over like my side. I just end up wrapping kind of like all the way around to the opposite side, which this is probably not the best rotate in the world, to be honest with you. There's definitely ways that I could have done this better, but again, because it's like a lower elo lobby, and that was just a really like awkward kind of zone pull where it's pulling like straight up a mountain. You know, it wound up working. So I get straight into the zone here, just box up, playing full safe again. Again, boxing full metal. I see an opportunity kind of for a dead side wrap here because zone kind of pulled into dead side like on this previous zone. So I kind of scout that first, but I'm not fully ready to go yet. I actually wanted to rotate kind of with the lobby here because I had a lot of people around me. So I wanted to make sure other people were moving before I started moving so I wouldn't be the only one getting focused. So I go for a kill there and actually end up getting sent straight back down the mountain. And this could have been dodgy had the zone pulled like a little bit more to the right. I still have to go up the hill here. Really like kind of awkward. Which is fine. You know, we get halfway up. We're all the way on front side like we're chilling. Get a nice little beam on the kid rotating behind us. And we're just going to hold here for a second. Because we know that we have the time to. And then also when we get up this hill, like getting up this hill is going to torch a lot of our mats. So I'm really just, the objective there was really just to try to grief like everyone else coming up the hill behind me. Here, no audio on my end, so that guy doesn't even look up. He's not even going to get visual audio because I'm really just floating in the air above him. So that's something you guys can take advantage of when you're looking for refreshes, especially on these rotates this season with Flowberries and Flowberry Fizz. A lot of times when you are in the air above someone and you've jumped from farther away, like they're not going to get any audio. You see, some kid tries to get in my box. We're in the top 5 now. This game was pretty dead, but we're still playing kind of full. We're still fully playing for the win, right? So we're trying not to make too many bad decisions pulling down the hill here. And so I decided I want to play low ground. Just turning around, kind of, again, like trying to get damage on everyone. This kid actually gets eliminated. So I grabbed the loot real quick. And if somebody was staring at me there, like I easily could have gotten beamed, but a lot of these kids are still kind of just rotating backside. Took a little bit of damage from height because I didn't block my top there. Get a really easy kill on a kid just sitting in a cone. Not sure what that kid was doing or trying to do there. I can't lie. Alright, so zone pulls north. I see this kid on my wall. Again, boxed in wood. He tries to get in straight away off the peanut butter edit. So instead of like panicking, I just let him and I make sure I have good crosshair placement and I'm able to get another really easy kill there. And I recognize it's a 1v1. It's just me and the guy on height. You know, I'm on low ground, so I'm going to start playing zone wars and I'm going to just make sure that my top is completely covered and try to do a lot of these low ground peaks. And you'll see here, this kid's getting aggressive on my top, so I'm pretty sure he's like out of materials. So I crank straight up. Go for a little Tfue peek. He actually pumped me really hard right there. That was a good shot from him. You know, he hit me in the body for about 100 damage. So that actually did like scare me a little bit. And you can see I play a lot more textbook, playing very scared right here, even though he has no mats. At this point, I still want to get this med kit off, but I don't have the mats. My shotgun didn't shoot. It was a very scary end to that game. I'm not going to lie, guys. Like, I easily could have lost that. So I definitely need to practice a little bit more in some creative zone wars and also some solo scrimmages to make sure, like, when I do get down to those final moments of the game, that I'm making the right plays. Because had those kids been, you know, a little bit better, like, I definitely could have and probably should have lost that game. So now, game 2, I believe I died off spawn. So I believe this is going to be footage from game 3. And you'll see me kind of play the same way, just trying to play very consistent throughout this entire tournament. And you can see this kid actually has, you'll see kind of later on, this kid actually has some decent ping. But here I have a massive HP advantage, so I'm really just trying to force the issue and trying to get, you know, like trying to either get a wall or get straight into the box. Just so that I can, you know, I can force an aim duel and I can win. because I do still have like a significant HP advantage here, but because I'm not 100, I started playing like a little bit more safer, just trying to play like get in angles that are like a good distance away from him, or trying to go for straight up like wall replaces on good angles. But this kid has really good ping, so I'm sitting here kind of trying to take these walls from him, and I just cannot get a single one. So this kind of just repeats. He continues to expand and make space. Really bad timing right there. I don't know if you guys caught that or not. That was a horrible timing. So I definitely need to practice that a bit more. Okay. And then he just opens up a right-hand edit on me, but doesn't really peek it very well. So I'm able to kind of just jump the peak, get in. I know I have an HP advantage. He hits me for less, and I win the fight. Pretty simple there. So here, you see I'm actually in a really good spot. If you look in the top right corner of the screen, 6 zone, I have access to dead side. I'm pretty much center zone. I have all this space to kind of refarm with. And this is kind of funny because like I was making fun of that kid for getting headshot sniped out of the air, which was like I wasn't really making fun of him. I was just pointing out how unfortunate it is, like, and how just the irony of how broken snipers are. And got a little overconfident there. Didn't even build. Knew the kid was on height and got headshot sniped. So got punished for being greedy right there. I should have built more. I should have made sure as I was going out and as I was farming up all those trees and stuff like that, I should have been making sure that the stuff that I was farming, I was covered from people that had lines of sight on me. So this is what I believe was my 5th game. So we had first game, 3rd game, 5th game in this video for opens. I believe the rest of the games actually died off spawn. So for me to be able to come out here and kind of convert on those 3 games, I was actually really happy with that, because I did end up getting 2 wins in this tournament, which it's been a very long time since I've won 2 games in anything solos. So I was very happy with that. And I've also been scrimming just a ton. I believe the last 2 weeks of last season, like right after grand finals, and then the first couple weeks of this season, I believe I was playing scrims for about 8 hours a day. And obviously this was the result, so hard work does pay off, guys. So I started getting sprayed. Obviously, like I'm in a box that's like half wood there, so I started getting sprayed. I instantly just ramp out towards him. For those of you guys that don't know, anytime you start getting sprayed, like you can edit like a window or an arch or something like that, and you can ramp it off, and then you can actually place another wall so that you're double layered from the spray. A lot of times that will make it not worth for people to continue to spray you, and they'll just back off. So I did get a really good zone pull here on this zone, so I'm kind of just sitting up in this 2x2 that I established with metal, and you know, trying to make good peaks and look out towards low ground, like as people are gonna be rotating towards me. Again, on this 8 zone rotate, like I do kind of want to go in later rather than earlier, because the dead side is always going to be the last portion of zone that gets revealed. So as long as you get to the center or deeper, you'll have access to that dead side on the next rotate. So it is beneficial on these 8 zone rotates to stagger just outside of zone and then kind of try to like hug one of the sides of zone or just go straight up to center so that you can get past the congestion and have a nice little piece of the map to control. And then obviously with these in-game, I do not have Grimcoin. Like I said, I have been landing on the northeastern kind of like weather station up there, so no coin. But because we have the green water, obviously I'm going to be abusing the dashes because it is the most broken form of mobility this season. And as you can see, I kind of get in on one of these choke points here, so I have access to dead side, but zone pulls back into congestion here. So I do have to kind of go up and over everyone. Luckily at this point, there's not too much to worry about in terms of like an established height. Which I think you guys, when you see me look up through the cone, that is kind of what I was looking for there. Looking for a high ground that can hold me on this rotate. Obviously, I'm going to have to be one of the first people to move here, but luckily a lot of these kids knew to rotate. This kid was just not building, trying to spray at height. Don't know why, so I just drop on him and literally get a super free refresh. You see, I get cut off in front of me here, but I'm basically on the front side of zone, so I said whatever. Like I'll just go ahead and stagger here. looking for refreshes like you guys saw in that first game. And then we're just going to go for a fizz, stagger all the way, go for fizz. This guy is very unlucky. Feel bad for that guy. Unfortunate. GG's, brother. Go next. So at this point, at the end of first moving, I know that I'm really stacked, so I say, hey, like I'm probably more stacked than everyone else in this lobby, and I see height is kind of built up on these wood builds here. One thing that I want to say about this portion, if you look at the bottom, you can see that height was held up by like 1 or 2 walls. I should have the combination of things here with this guy like trying to chop height from this layer as well, and then like kind of playing defense because he's playing right underneath height and he thinks I'm trying to kill him and not chop height. I should have aimed a little bit lower, and I more than likely could have chopped height just off of those 2 wooden builds on the bottom. So it's kind of looking at the wrong spot here, but the idea was there, right? Like I'm looking at chop height. So now I get all of that sprayed out and he doesn't come down, so obviously he's got to be connected somewhere else. So I say, whatever, like I'm not going for height here. Like I'm out of time. I'm just going to go front side. And I layer really high here. And you can see kind of like out the right side. And I want to talk about my player positioning real quick before I get on to like the high ground. My player positioning here for going for this box is actually really bad. You can see I'm floating to like the right side of the box. So I have to look straight up or straight down to place this wall in front of me, which I do. But like in order to avoid that extra movement, I could have like much better player placement. So maybe like going up and creating boxes in creative is something that I should be practicing as well, just to make sure I get that my player positioning down better. Now, when I do get to this point, right, I get the front side, it's second moving, we're about to be at the zone transition. I see that high ground is in metal. However, the way that he's tarping this to get connected is pretty bad. So I have an opportunity here to just go ahead and spray him out and take height from him, which I go ahead and do. And then I'm just going to go ahead, crank some 80s, some 190s to get a little bit more height underneath me so that I can't just get, so it's much harder for people to flank me or to just straight up like mantle on the height when I don't see them. Now, playing height in solos is a little bit different than duos because when you're playing height in solos, you have to worry about you have to worry about tarping, you have to worry about shooting, you have to worry about watching for flanks. Everything is on you, right? And there's a lot more randomness that can happen in solos. You could get your height attempted to be taken by like 3 different people at once, and there's not really a whole lot that you can do about that. So you have to be extremely efficient, and you have to be very, very careful when you're playing high ground in solos. Not only that, I like to play a little bit more from the backside of zone instead as opposed to the front side in solos, for the simple fact of especially when you start to get closer, when you get like into zone, for the simple fact of being able to more effectively watch for flanks and to watch for like zone plays and stuff like that. And then you can also see the entire lobby kind of in front of you. Now, when you have a connection opportunity in zone, that's when you should go forward, try to connect, and then you can kind of like hold your little territory of height that you have established, right? But a lot of times in height, especially, and it's also zone dependent, right? So like first moving, I'd probably want to be tarping less and just like establishing, like jumping from point to point, like on height more, and just like maximizing the amount of time that I have to put pressure on the lobby. So that's using my spray weapons to continually like just spray people's builds and try to grief them. So that's kind of like what I'm trying to do when I'm playing high ground in these games. Now the exact details are going to be a little bit different. But the general strategy usually stays the same. But you can have, what do you do if zone continues to pull forward? What do you do if it pulls back, et cetera, et cetera? So there are different factors that make it too difficult for me to explain the entire strategy of playing high ground in solos to you guys in this one video. But you can see kind of how I play it here in this game, where I'm kind of like tarping out a bit and then again like playing more from that backside. Little mechanical error there with my movement just dropping down, but kind of almost a good thing too, because it gives me another connection point going into this zone, which makes my high ground, like more strongly connected. So now we're in the transition from zone 11 to 12. Here I'm looking at my mats and I'm saying, okay, I probably have enough to just like double layer full tarp this zone. So I just need to continue to go forward and continue to apply like pressure to this lobby. Keep spraying. Now, I recognize how high I am there, so I want to go ahead and de-elevate, just so I can't get chopped here. Go ahead, de-elevate, get reconnected. It's also a top 5 situation, so I want to play a bit aggressive on this lobby. But because I went down there, you can see like this guy actually ends up like able to make a play on me for height. But this is where you have to know how to defend. Like this is where PGs kind of like come into handy, because you need to know how to defend high ground. And that doesn't always mean like full killing the person that's challenging you for it, right? Sometimes it just means taking height. So here, I actually made a bit of a mental mistake here. I believe that it was a 1v1 situation between me and the gray superhero skin. It was not. It was actually a 1v1v1. And this decision probably should have gotten me killed. Because I went back into zone, I went back into zone to chase this kill, and I gave up height. So 2 really big mistakes right there that I probably shouldn't have made. But again, I didn't have a lot of materials left after finishing that build fight, so it definitely would have been difficult for me to defend height at that point. However, I'm able to recover. I go back in, I start my zone tank, I have to pop all my splashes. By this point, the gray superhero actually ends up dying to zone, and then I would have to assume that this guy didn't have any type of whites, because he actually doesn't play heal off here. He just jumps down towards me, and I know I don't have any whites as well, so I have to play aggressive towards him. So again, a couple of lucky breaks that I caught in this game that allowed me to win, but still got the win nonetheless. So as you could, guys, I don't know if you could hear my reaction there, but I was very, very excited, very happy with that. Like I said, it's been a while since I've won 2 games of pretty much anything. But now we go on to game 1 of finals. Finals did not go good this week at all. I was very disappointed, especially after winning 2 games in opens. I didn't even get to play out an end game in this finals, so we'll kind of see what happened here, like in these mid-game fights that I messed up. So this guy doing a really good job of abusing the 0-point dash, getting a lot of free damage on me, and then abusing the lightning bolt, right? So one issue that I made here was trying to actually move out of this box before the lightning bolt collides. What I should have done here was just open an edit and dash out, because the lightning bolt does splash damage. And at this point, it did still damage you through builds. So I should dash out, dash away, try to get to a place where it's much more difficult for him to hit me with a lightning bolt, right? So I actually could have run out the front of my box, or like left or right, and dashed towards him, and that would have been a better play than what I made here. Here I just try to run away, and he ends up killing me with the lightning bolt. But anytime you can get around and under somebody when they're using a lightning bolt, especially like as they're going into the third charge has a little bit of an extended charge up, so it's very easy for you to get beams on them at that point, or even fully kill them out of the air, because again, they're a stationary target when they're using that bolt. So on a game 2, I'm laning Grim Gate, and I'm pretty shambles here because I lost the drop, so I kind of had to just leave and take whatever loot I could find. And you can see I'm actually fighting this kid without a shotgun. So I can see he's playing very passive here, just sitting up on height, and I know that I have the kind of equipment necessary to be able to not even have to use my mats to try to retake height from him. And I'm really just trying to like force an issue here, because I know that I kind of have to kill this kid to get the loot that I want, because he's already looted this whole area. So I was able to win that fight just by forcing the issue. That guy was like really nervous and just missing his shots, so unfortunate for that guy. But yeah, I pretty much just full force of 50 there, and am able to win it. Just playing full confident. So as you guys can see, find a guy sitting in a cone in the house. I'm actually pretty nervous here. He scared the crap out of me. Even though like I halfway expected, like when I walked up to this cone, I did halfway expect there to be somebody in this cone, because house has been looted, things have been farmed. There's one singular cone in the entire house. Now, if I was on DX11 or DX12, as far as like my performance settings, or if I was on high meshes on performance, I believe I'd be able to see through this cone. But because I'm not, obviously I can't. So I did like go ahead, and I had a sneaking suspicion there was somebody in there. So I swing my pickaxe once and then instantly take my shotgun back out, and was able to just fully trade damage. Now, again, after the trade, I'm still going to play super confident here. because if he's hiding in a wood cone in a house, I can't assume that he's very good, right? So like it's not that I'm playing like recklessly confident. It's that I see certain things that players are doing and I'm able to kind of assess their skill level in the moment. I think this conversation about confidence needs to be had because I think that a lot of players in general, especially at the lower tiers, don't understand what it means to be confident. And it's not something that is just like, oh, I just log in and I'm ready to go attack these kids. Like not necessarily. I mean, you're reading the individual players as you go and you're looking for any advantage that you can take on them. And sometimes you'll see them make mistakes that you wouldn't make, and that tells you that you are a better overall player than them and that you can be confident in that fight, and that by you being confident as well, it's going to start to make them a bit nervous. So I think that was probably the big difference in that fight right there. Like, you know, I'm hitting him for 30 damage with my pump, but we're both we're both missing shots. So ultimately, what that came down to was, you know, a wide edit trade, just being confident, right? He's like kind of running around. I also knew the tack sprint delay would cause him to miss pulling out his pump. So here on this rotate, obviously I can't pull up the minimap to kind of show you guys, but this zone pulled towards like the Grim Gate area. So and usually on these types of zones, the bottom half of the zone will be more congested. So knowing that, I wanted to go ahead and rotate into the northern side of the zone on this half and half zone because I knew that it would be less contested. So I'm not trying to wrap like all the way into the northern side. I'm just trying to get far enough north that it's less congested than the other areas to the south. That way I can get in as deep as I want, and I can kind of like I can basically like take that free access to dead side. But you can see I get here rather early. I'm gonna go ahead and base in brick because I don't want to move too much further because there's this kid sitting right next to me. However, once this zone starts to open up, you're going to see that I actually end up taking advantage of these dashes, and I can get a little bit deeper into dead side. So again, just taking advantage of the dead side rotates, not really like too scared to use up like a lot of my mats here for the simple fact of I know that I'm going to have like this entire side of zone free and then I can continue to just refarm. So you see kind of just this whole section is just me refarming on dead side. And then you can see this 7 zone pulls back towards like that southern edge, so I know that it's pulling in the congestion, but there is a dead side that ends up getting revealed because of because of how 6 zone pulled. So I'm over here, like I was already on the dead side, obviously, and then it pulls, revealing a dead side. So I'm able to use this to just rotate forward. And I kind of make a big mistake right here. Like I'm basically running like fully free. And I should just keep going here, but instead I stop to farm this tree, right? So like when you're rotating like this, like 2 zone, it's definitely not a good idea to stop and refarm. And I was just getting, you know, my focus is in the wrong place. I got a little bit greedy and I got punished for it because I got headshot sniped. So here, third game, I'm getting keyed. Again, playing aggressive, playing confident. He tries to just drop on my wall, get straight in. I make an instant edit. You know, he aggresses into my box and he gets 1 pump, right? So, nothing crazy there, guys. Just reading the enemy and knowing like when I can go for certain things. This is such a greedy play right here out of me. I mean, there's hills like all around me, and I could very easily get beamed right here. But I go ahead and try to get as much metal off this gas station here as I can, just to get as stacked as possible, kind of going into this end game. I'm actually able to get away with it too, as you guys can see. And at this point, I do have 2 kills, and I see this guy kind of like, you know, he wants to, you know, he's pulling up, and I'm like, all right. So I want to take this fight. I just made a impulsive decision in the moment to take the fight. I didn't need to take the fight at all whatsoever. And I make a really bad, so I mess up my timing dropping on the wall, which allows him instead of me taking this wall as I drop down and place the cone and everything, I actually end up getting it to one shot with my pickaxe and then go for the pickaxe swing. I make a really bad peek and I get hit for 100 and then I get full boxed. So here, definitely, like, from a macro point of view, I don't need to take this fight at all whatsoever. I already have 3 med kits, I have 2 chug splashes, and I have almost a full fizz, right? So who's to say, and then I have basically cap mats. So who's to say that I don't just play this game out, make it to end game, and take a fight, get a good refresh, and then that gives me, you know, cap splashes and replenishes my flowberry fizz. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's probably what I should have done. Now, from a micro perspective, I should have taken a much better peek, right? I need to practice, number one, I would need to practice this wall take, right? Like wall taking wall taking from like an elevated position, right? I need to practice that timing so I can have that timing down with each individual gun. And then I also need to practice, like, when I'm peeking, instead of like instantly making an edit from wherever I'm standing in the box, trying to position myself and also reading the opponent at the same time to make the edit that is the most efficient, like, for the given situation, right? So, like, this is good. I have these mechanics down. Like, I'm able to do the cone phase and take the wall. And then at this point, because of where I'm standing in the box, instead of making a middle window edit when he's in this kind of like back corner of the box, I should be making a peanut butter here. And I should be making a peanut butter here because he can't, number one, he's in the back of the box, so he can't just run through. And then number two, I'm on the left-hand side of my cone and I'm at the bottom. So it's almost as if I'm standing on a flat. So because of where I'm standing in the box, I could still jump peek with the peanut butter and have a better peek than he does, right? So this is mostly just a case of, number one, I made a bad edit, right? Like, and that's pretty much it, actually. Like, I shouldn't have made a window edit there. I should have made a peanut butter. So that was week 1 of finals, guys. I hope you guys were able to learn a lot from this video and kind of able to start to understand what my thought processes are. If there's anything that you guys see when watching this video, any decisions that you've seen from me that maybe you want clarity on, go ahead and just let me know in the comments down below. And that's pretty much it for today, guys. I'll see you in the next video.